Welcome to Betting on Success, a podcast that dives into the future of gaming with a focus on cashless technology. Hosted by Mark Morton, aka Morty. From cashless innovations to incredible career stories, this is where gaming professionals stay ahead. Betting on Success is brought to you by your friends at Marker Tracks and Coin, leading the way in cashless gaming.
Hi, this is Mark Morton, and welcome to Betting on Success. One of the things I love most about this opportunity is the opportunity to meet some very uber talented individuals. And today, after you hear a story, you're going to understand why I feel that way. Philanthropist, visionary, CEO of the Plaza, Jonathan Jossel. Jonathan,
good to see you. Nice to see you, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet me.
Not meet you. I've known you for quite some time.
I would say so.
Yeah. So before we get into your professional career.
Yep.
Let's dive in a little bit about Jonathan as you were growing up. Obviously not from the United States, I can tell by the accent. So a little background from that aspect.
Yeah, I was born in South Africa, in Johannesburg. You ever been there?
Yeah, never been there.
Great place. I was born in Johannesburg, grew up there till I was about 6 years old. And then my parents immigrated to England, London, and moved there as a young kid. And pretty much went to school there, grew up, became an adult there, went to university in a place called Birmingham.
Yep.
Small town outside of London. And always had a affinity or affection for the gambling industry, even in the UK.
Really?
I was betting on the dogs, the greyhounds.
Yeah.
Went to the horse tracks. We had the bookies, the old bookies on the corner on the high streets there.
Yeah.
Would go in there, even as a young guy. And interestingly, when I was at university in England, I was doing my thesis in 2001, 2002 on the gambling industry in the UK. And what would happen if Las Vegas style casinos, that literally the subject matter was what were the socioeconomic impacts of Las Vegas style casinos coming to the UK. And at the time they were considering doing mega casinos in I think it was in Brighton and the Millennium Dome just outside of London. And that's really where I was playing around with the casino industry out there. And I met a gentleman, a family friend. His name is Poyu Zabladovic. You want to try to say it?
No, I was hoping you would do it and
Okay.
not me, Jonathan. Yeah.
And he was the chairman of a group called Tamara's. And here's an amazing story which I can share with you. And he had just invested in downtown Las Vegas. And I'm having lunch at his house through my parents. And he asks me what I was doing. I didn't know he'd bought these casinos. I tell him what I was studying at university. And he told me he just bought 6 casinos in downtown Las Vegas. And I was like, oh my God, it's not every day you meet someone like that.
Yeah.
So I asked him for work experience. And I was 20 years old. I asked him for work experience. And he says, yeah, sure, whatever. It was over lunch. It was very casual. Anyway, I called him many, many times after that lunch trying to get a hold of him. Kind of like the story you just shared with me before we got online. And finally, his assistant was like, look, he says you can go work in Las Vegas. Just buy yourself a ticket and we'll set you up at the hotel there. So I bought myself a ticket. It was, when was it? It was summertime. I know it was hot. I think it was late July, early August. And I come out to the plaza and I meet a guy and they got me a room in the plaza. I lived in the plaza in 2005. And but I wasn't 21 yet. And after a couple of weeks, I said to him, it's cool that you have this vision, but
Right.
what am I doing here?
Right.
His idea was revitalizing downtown Las Vegas, but it was a long, long road ahead, and I did not have the vision at 20 years old to share in that. And so after a couple of weeks, I said, thank you, but I'm going to leave. And the people that I had worked with for those few weeks actually ended up offering me a job out of university in his company. This was a few years later, and I ended up working for him in real estate in London. And after 2 years of that, I was thinking, what do I do with myself? By the way, I know this isn't the question you asked me.
Yeah, that's okay. Keep going.
But I'm sort of telling you how I got to Las Vegas,
Yeah.
I guess. And 2 years goes by, and he comes into the office, and I've been doing real estate. I was kind of bored of it. I was thinking, what else do I want to do with my life? Now I'm 22 years old.
Yeah.
And he says, downtown Las Vegas is really changing. You should go back out there because I've had an issue with my partners. I now own all these casinos, free and clear. And I need someone on the ground to be my eyes and ears. And you're the only person that works for me that isn't married, doesn't have children, or isn't tied down. I was like, well, I was just there 2 years ago and I wasn't great, but I'll go out there for 3 months and see how it is. So I came out again July 5th, 2007. and I went to a bar called the Downtown Cocktail Room. You ever go there?
Yeah.
On Las Vegas Boulevard, cool
Yep.
little bar. And I met two young guys. One was building a high-rise, one owned the bar. And they were the only businesses in downtown at the time. And this is now 2007. And lo and behold, I said, you know what? Downtown is changing. And maybe I can make a difference here. And that's how I ended up in downtown.
So when you were in college, I mean, you had no idea what you wanted to do, or was gaming kind of what you thought you were?
No idea. No idea.
And your folks, your family, brothers, sisters, nothing, no exposure to gaming at all?
Zero. To be honest, when I moved out in 2007, like for the real move, I still didn't know I wanted to do gaming. I was doing real estate. I was leasing out some of the properties that they owned. We were looking at development. Frankly, the recession of 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010 was a terrible time for everyone, but it was actually a blessing for me in a sense that because I was so young, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, it forced me to learn the casino business. I had zero gaming experience, hospitality experience, any operational experience. I never done any of that, so it was all learned on the job.
So when you get to Vegas, your family, I know, is very important to you. You have 3 children, correct?
Yeah. Well, I didn't move here with 3 children.
No. But you met your wife here.
Yes. Yes. I met my wife. She's from San Diego. She went to UNLV school and was working front desk at Treasure Island. And then I think she worked at Bellagio. But she did not, hospitality wasn't for her. And she ended up going to work at a bank. And again, when I moved here, I didn't know anyone. I was 23 years old and didn't know anyone, but I was a decent soccer player and tennis player.
Okay.
And so I was playing in the soccer league in indoor soccer place in Summerlin. And Americans do not know how to play soccer. Sorry to your listeners, but they're really not very good at soccer. And so I was good compared to them. I wasn't good in England, but I was good compared to them. And so everyone wanted me on their team. And one of the guys was like, let's hang out. So he became my good friend in Las Vegas. And he worked at the bank as well. And he said, hey, these 2 interns just started working there. Let's take them out one night. Because I didn't know anyone. So we were just going out with him most nights, trying to meet people. And that's how I met my wife. She was the intern that he was talking about. And ultimately we got married. And now we have 3 children here in Vegas.
Boys or girls?
2 older boys and then the baby girl.
Okay.
Yeah. They're the best thing in my life.
And age?
5, 7, and 9. 5, 8, and 9. He just turned 8. 5, 8, and 9.
Yeah, so it's funny because when I think about you and where you've gone with your career, I think of you as being much older, right? So when you say 5, what'd you say?
5, 8, and 9.
5, 8, 9. When mine are now 28 and 30, it's a difference. So that's another thing I want to ask you. I read that you were the youngest non-restricted gaming licensee ever, or
yeah. So I was told from my gaming attorney and the gaming control board, I was the youngest unrestricted licensee in the state of Nevada at the time when I got licensed. I was 29 and unaffiliated with a family. So there are like some children, I believe even some of the current people, their kids have been licensed or had a key employee license,
right,
but they're the kids of the owner. I was completely unaffiliated with any ownership group, or I was the licensee at the time.
And how old were you?
29.
29.
I went through the process at 20. Well, again, because of the bad recession that I was referring to, that was good for me. Or I wasn't good, but it was an opportunity for me. And the sense that I called the owner up in England and said, hey, this thing couldn't be worse if you tried.
Right.
Let me get licensed and try run the place. And either he was crazy or a genius, but he agreed to let me get licensed. And I went through the process. It took about a year of background checks. Again, when you're 28, there's not much for them to check. I never had another job, so there was no I didn't have any trusts or funds or other properties anywhere in the world. So it wasn't much for them to look at. And I got approved when I was 29 years old and became the licensee and CEO of the Plaza.
So when you think about downtown, right, you think about these iconic Vegas families, the Boyds, the Gons, you go on and on, the Expers. I mean, you think about them. Tell me about some of your experience. Did you get an opportunity at that time? Because they were still involved. I know you had bought in the properties from the Gons, but did you have an opportunity to work alongside some of those iconic families too?
I did, and I actually regret not having that opportunity. It would have been amazing to learn from them and see how they operated. When we were doing a project a few years ago, it really stuck to me that, so next door is Main Street Station. The Plaza utilities were on the Main Street property. I was thinking, so how the hell did this happen? There was no easements, there was no documents.
Yeah.
It was all done on a handshake, and they were all friends and did crazy stuff together. And so there was a real camaraderie the way they built downtown together in those years. But I never got a chance to work with any of them. I mean, Boyd is still down there, but I know their local property manager is not the not the main people or the Boyds themselves. And then obviously Jackie Gorn went to the El Cortez and passed away. But his son is someone I really look up to. Get to talk to him every now and then. He's really an inspiration. And I said to you again before we started, but I think he's the best operator in town.
Yeah,
and
no
the way he treats his team and the culture he has there and the niche he's found in his business there between bowling and bingo and rodeos, it's pretty amazing what he's done there. So that's definitely someone that I look up to, but never had the chance to work with any of them. And that's why I think, in a way, I sometimes say it's a shame because I don't really have like a gaming mentor or someone I talk to here about the business. It's sort of self-taught. I've learned it through the years of being on the job here.
So do you have a professional mentor, or is there anybody influential in your family or history that really drove you to the levels you've achieved up to this point?
I don't. It's something that I'm sort of regret. I don't have a mentor per se. I'm obviously I'm very close to my parents, and
Right.
they're helpful to me. And who does help me here in Las Vegas a lot and has over the years is Oscar Goodman.
Yep.
He's been a really sort of like a father figure to me in many ways here in Las Vegas, as we've gotten closer in the more recent years with the business that we have together. But no, I don't. Some of our partners at the hotel, like Joe Asher in started William Hill,
Yep.
or our partner at Hash House. I go out for dinners with them and run ideas by them. I guess that you could call that a mentor, I suppose. But no, I don't, and I'm looking. If anyone listening wants to be my mentor, I'm open.
Yeah. So I read a quote that you had that said that being really young in that opportunity you thought was a benefit to you because you had no preconceived ideas of how things should work, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the downturns of somebody with a lot of maturity is they've already kind of got a game plan that they follow and they only think it works that way. You feel differently.
It's just, I thank you for bringing that up. I forgot about that. But yes, I really do believe that. By not knowing what, one of the things I watched over the years was all these great operators from the Strip would come downtown and not do well. And it was because they, in many ways, it's different markets, but also because I think they thought they knew everything and it was already, oh, we've tried that, it doesn't work. We've tried that, it doesn't work. And they were not open to new ideas versus me, who had no idea what I was doing. And I was willing to try anything and very mobile in the sense of we didn't have a real difficult structure to try things. So if someone had an idea, we could just begin to try it. And some of those things work. And when I look back today, some of our most successful things have been kind of crazy ideas, but actually turned out to be really, really good. I mean, building a rodeo arena in downtown, an equestrian center. As a Jewish English guy, I'm the last person in the world who should be running an equestrian center in downtown Las Vegas. But turned out to be a really, really smart move for us. And, some of the other things like putting murals on the building, fireworks shows every Friday, pickleball courts, things that people thought were just kind of crazy. Many people thought we should just knock down the plaza and start a game.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the approach we went to. So being young and being self-taught definitely had its better opportunities down there.
So when you think about that, tell me about that piece, because I remember that they were going to demo the plaza. And, people that grew up in Las Vegas hated that idea. I remember when my family moved to Vegas, 1970, they were just building the plaza. But I think the plaza opened
71.
So when we heard about that, like any of the other iconic properties in Vegas that I grew up around, the idea was they were going to knock it down. Why did you think that wasn't a great idea?
To be honest with you, I didn't think it was a great idea because I knew we didn't have the capital to rebuild, a $1 billion hotel. To build a 1,000-room hotel back then was probably close to $1 billion. So partly that, but also just the idea that it's such an iconic building. It is a great building. It sits at one main street. It's got all this history, the signage, the neon, the light bulbs. I could see how people reacted when they saw it. And today you look at some of the new buildings and a lot of them have tried to copy the light bulb features and they don't have the same effect. It doesn't work. You can't build class and history. And so I saw the way people reacted to that. The problem was it was so badly maintained and held up and operated that when they came there, the experience didn't match the perception. And so people left and it wasn't good. So it did dawn on me that before we do any marketing and before we do anything to try to attract new customers, you have to improve the experience in here. And it wasn't just cosmetic. It was a lot of service. It was a lot of operations. We had to redo 19 elevators last year. But that was something that was overlooked. And bad elevator experience is a really bad experience in a building. So I think people thought you should knock it down because it was so far gone. It was so badly maintained. But actually now when people come in there and I see the reaction of them and, wow, this is nice. And, oh, it doesn't smell bad as it used to. And, oh, wow, you can get around in the elevators and the air conditioning and all the things that you have to take a lot of money to upkeep. I see now that the history translates much better with the experience.
Yeah, so that was the other question I wanted to understand. So you've had to take an iconic older property, marry it with technology and enhancement. How do you still keep the feel that you have when you walk into the plaza?
I think a lot of that comes from the people. The people keep the feeling, because one of the great examples of really people telling me, don't do this, there's two I can think of. One was the murals on the building. Everyone said, that's crazy. You're going to change the history and the charm of the building. And the other one was the Pink Box Donut in the very front, which is the best donut store maybe in America. Those two things were really eye-opening in the sense of how do you do those things and change what is really a classic building, but yet still maintain an old historic experience. And we've been able to marry those two together. And a lot of that comes down to the people, because the Pink Box Donut in the front of the building and the murals couldn't be further away from the 1970s plaza.
Correct.
But yet they go really well together, and we've been able to marry those two up nicely.
So when I think about you, Jonathan, and every time I'm at the property, I notice how people behave. Obviously, you must feel that that's the key to the whole thing, right? The people and the experience of the guests when they come, you have to have that sort of culture embedded in the property.
Well, everyone says they do. Every casino says people first, customer service first. It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to really live it and breathe it. And one of the things that really stood out to me was when I took over in the early 2010s, but even before that, when I was just a kid learning the business, it was being on the floor and being in the, so to speak, in the trenches with the employees. Because what was happening is they were taking all the abuse for the bad experiences, and there was no one for them to go to. There was no one for them to help them. And then I realized, actually, by talking to these people, some of them had worked there longer than I'd been alive.
Right.
And I didn't have any friends, any family, nothing. So I was this 23-year-old. From 23 to about 28, I would spend endless hours. You know, like the expression 10,000 hours makes you an expert?
Yeah.
I put my 10,000 hours into that place in those years. And I would, by being there every single night, I learned the way people were walking through the building. I learned the way our team members were interacting with them. And by being there, the team saw that I was actually in there with them. And if there was a problem, which we had a lot of problems, they understood, like, oh, well, Jonathan's here and he's going to live it with us. And I think that helped me build credibility with them. And then ultimately, as we've made these changes and improved the place, now they see that we care about it in the same way that they always cared about it. And we're a team and we're aligned in that way. And so I think it does help having a presence there almost every day of the week.
Well, you know, it's funny because you're young. How old? You're 40
now?
Yeah,
41.
41, right? When you think about that sort of behavior, that's very old school, right? I mean, growing up in the business like I have, you always noticed that the properties that were really great, the Palace Station, you know, Big Frank Fertitta was always there, or you went to the El Cortez, Jackie Gone was always very visible. I think that's a huge piece in building kind of a culture and an experience, right? And so you're young, but kind of old school too.
Yeah, and I no one taught me that. I loved the business, so I was there, and I enjoyed being there. It was something that I really enjoyed doing. But you got to have a good team as well, because there's only so many hours that a human can do something like that. So, and now with the 3 kids, I'm very lucky to have a great team there now that, you know, can step in when I'm not there. There's people that have been with me 15 years, which I'm very proud of, that I've been able to promote from a front desk agent to a director or a VP. And now I trust them like I trust myself to be there. And if they're there, then the team knows the team is there. We're all in it together. And so, yeah, it is an old school mentality, but it makes it much easier when you only have one place. And also when you've all grown up in that place together, it's just sort of second nature to be there.
So when you think about downtown now, right? When you think about, I mean, you and I were talking about some of the newspaper articles about the experience now when you come to Vegas. What do you see for the vision for downtown? Because you guys, do you still work really closely with the other? Because I know for a long period of time, they were very close, but I think you guys still are the same way, right?
Yeah, we are. Everyone thinks that downtown that it's not like that, and not everyone, but there's a few people that especially on social media, that think that the downtown doesn't like each other and we've all got issues. We actually have a great relationship together. I had a drink with the owner of Circa on Thursday night. I talked to the president of Golden Nugget, El Cortez. We all have a great relationship, and we've definitely realized if we're all doing something good, everyone else is benefiting from it. If there's an event that brings a lot of people to town, our fireworks now are supported by the whole of downtown. So yeah, it's a great culture. Everyone works together, and I see a lot of people coming downtown now that never came downtown before, or if they did, they came down because of the history and the neon, and they wanted to see Fremont Street, but they realized that no good restaurants, no good hotels, no good pools. So they left after an hour or two. Maybe they bought a drink, but then they left. Now they come downtown for the history and the neon, and they see Fremont Street, but they might end up in Oscar's. They might end up in another steakhouse. They might see a show. They might go to the pools. There's so much to do downtown and so much investment that's made it better that actually a lot of them want to stay downtown now. And we have all the best slot product downtown. Same as everywhere else, but the amenities now marry up to the product. And so people definitely are gravitating down there, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
So when people come downtown, do you think that the tourists that go there, are they going to gamble? Do you think they get a better gaming experience downtown than you find on the Strip? I mean, I noticed your floor. I was amazed at first. I hadn't been in a couple of years. The amount of work you've done with the product that's there is as good as any place I go to.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And we're very proud of the slot floor, and I think it's indisputable that they get a better gamble downtown in the gaming odds, whether it's 3-2 blackjack versus 6-5 at almost every place on the Strip. Whether it's we have 0-0 roulette, Strip is 0-0 roulette, or 0-0 roulette. 0-0 is a big advantage. We have 10 times odds on craps. There's places on the Strip that are 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. It's a different game almost altogether. So yeah, the gaming conditions are definitely better downtown. But I think that only goes so far. You have to have the amenities to back that up. We always had better gaming conditions and better video poker pay tables, whatever it is. You have to have the amenities as well. People do want to have a good, clean, safe experience, and now we offer that as well downtown.
So you're also really involved with something called the Super Group. Is that correct?
Yes.
I want to talk to you about that too.
Yeah.
So because that's more of a technology company. Is that?
Well, it's an online gaming company. I'm on the board of it. I'm on the board of directors. I'm not in the operation of it at all. I'm on the board of directors, and it's an amazing company and an amazing opportunity.
And how did you get involved with that or active with that?
Well, when they went public, they were looking to come to the USA and break into the sports betting and online gaming market. This was 4 years ago, so very different, like almost the gold rush for sports betting and iGaming in the USA. They've since changed that philosophy and are focusing on the other areas where they're very successful in other countries. But I got involved because I was obviously invited to join the board because my family member is the CEO.
Okay.
So they had invited me to join the board, and also because I had tremendous gaming experience. I was licensed in the USA, licensed in Nevada. So obviously a good board member in that regard.
And so when you think about technology, where do you think, how do you improve the gaming experience? Do you think technology will play a huge part, or what's your vision from that aspect?
Well, I love market tracks.
I know you do. Thank you very much.
Still hoping one day I'll be the first to do market tracks.
Yeah, you're not retired by the time we get it going, but
yes.
Thank you for your partnership.
Market tracks is wonderful. I don't know if you and I have debated it, but I've debated at length. I'm not a big proponent of cashless yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not a proponent of cashless because I struggle with the idea of the wallets, the digital wallets that are unique to the properties. You see, right now at the Plaza or any casino in downtown or on the Strip, you ask them, they'll tell you that 40 to 60% of their play is unrated. So that's a huge chunk of play that you don't know who that person is.
Yep.
Now, that's a good thing because you don't have to reinvest in them. It's a bad thing because you can't reinvest and bring them back. You don't know who they are.
Right.
The problem with the wallets is that if nobody has cash, that 40 to 60% goes out the window because now they can't play in your place if they have a universal wallet where their cash is tied up at one property. And MGM and Caesars probably stand to benefit the most because if you have someone in your ecosystem that's using cashless and they have a wallet just for MGM, well, then that cash is tied up there. Now I understand in the last 2 years, since I started saying I'm not a fan of this, I understand the wallets have changed and there's talk about making universal wallets and ability to somehow allow cash to flow, not cash, but allow bank accounts to transfer and people to play in multiple casinos so you can still get that unrated play. But I love cash. I love cash. I don't want to see cash leave the industry. Does feel like it's inevitable at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be an huge change. But listen, they did it with coins. They got rid of coins, and the industry adapted to the Tito system. So maybe I'm just a dinosaur, a 41-year-old dinosaur.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah.
So when you think about downtown, do your players multiple properties, or how much do they spend in? Like they come to the Plaza, do they spend the majority, or do they end up?
We have pretty good data that says people that come to downtown visit 4 to 6 casinos. So they go visit pretty much a lot of places in downtown. And conversely, every single day I meet somebody on the floor that's staying at the Golden Nugget or staying at Boyd. And, they came in to visit us. And so there's a huge amount of crossover from that. And then obviously the strip customer that comes downtown for a day or a night. I love meeting those people and trying to convert them to become a downtown customer.
So personally, now I want to talk about you a little bit more. Active in the community. I know you're heavily active in various charitable functions and groups. Tell me your thought process behind that.
Well, I mean, Las Vegas has just been such a great place for me personally. It's afforded me an entire new life. I actually had my 18-year anniversary in Las Vegas last week, and somebody was asking me, like, what would you have done if you hadn't moved here? And it's such a great question because I have no idea. And it's really hard for me to imagine the person I am today, how much I've changed because of the lifestyle Las Vegas has afforded me. So I want to make that community better for people to move here and people to grow here. And I think that's important for us to pass it on, because it's been so good to me that everyone should have the opportunity that I had to move to Las Vegas at 23 years old with zero contact, zero people, and build an entire life for themselves.
So when you think about your career and who you are personally, Jonathan, what were the things that drove you to have the level of success you've had? Because it really is an incredible story in such a short period of time, coming to Vegas in the worst economy we've ever seen here, and to have the success that you have. Why do you think you were able to achieve what you have?
Well, it's it's interesting because I think I touched on this earlier, but the opportunity that tough time taught me to learn the business in those tough times. I think a lot of people that I see or talk to today, or even back then, and I was close to this. I was close to quitting. I was close to saying, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
This place is failing. These casinos are all losing money. We're never going to develop because of the downturn. It would have been easy to quit and say, no, thank you, this isn't for me, and go back to London or whatever. But the perseverance to go through a tough time and not to quit on it and to keep trying to figure out an angle to where I could grow, and ultimately it led to this. And I'm not saying you should stick in something bad that isn't good for you, but I do think in today's society, people quit too early on things. And that tough time of 07 to 2010, really taught me, perseverance and committing to a tough process. And imagine if I hadn't committed to that for 3 years, I could have easily quit in 2010.
Yeah.
And that's when everything started to change for me. So I think there is something about going through that tough time and persevering through it that helped me get to where I am today.
And when you think about what you love most about running the property, what gives you the biggest joy when you walk in every day?
Well, I love now the fact that because we've gotten the Plaza to a place where we're really comfortable with it. And hey, listen, it's a 53-year-old building now, right? 1971, so 54-year-old building. So there is elements to it. By the way, the birthday was July 2nd. It just turned 54. Happy birthday to the Plaza.
Happy birthday, Plaza.
The interesting thing is, because we feel so good about where we've taken the Plaza with the amenities and the experience, what I love now is focusing on the growth and focusing on the fun things and focusing on the people, because we're able to give more to our team, let them share in the success of the Plaza, take care of our team, seeing the team members that have been here for, I was joking, one of our employees that's been with us over 27 years, she's been there. She's a cocktail server, and she was gambling at the Mega Bucks thing. She came in with her family on Saturday night just to hang out. She was off duty, obviously, and they're gambling on Megabucks. And I saw her gambling, and I said, hey, if you guys hit the 10 million, you better come to work tomorrow. And she said, I'm coming to work no matter what tomorrow, if we win or not. She said, I love this place. And to me, that's just a great culture, a great team, people that want to be there. And to see them now be able to enjoy the Plaza, come to see the show, come to see dinner, drinks, whatever, because they're proud of it and they want to show their family. And to see them compared to what it was when it was it was a disgrace in 2007, the way it was being maintained. So to see the team appreciate it and grow there, and then also to be able to focus on fun things. Like right now, we're able to try new things with social media. We're very prevalent or relevant on social media, trying to do new things there, trying to create more fun, interactive ways to draw people to downtown, because now I'm not embarrassed if they come down there. I feel confident that they'll have a good time. That's what I love doing right now.
Well, I can tell you, you have done a phenomenal job. I want to thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.
Very inspiring story, Jonathan, in such a short period of time. Old school, but still very young. I just want to thank you for spending your time today,
Thank you
Jonathan.
very much.
And thank you guys for joining us on Betting on Success.
That's a wrap for this episode of Betting on Success. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for more insights from gaming industry leaders. We'll see you next time.